Hey, what's up, guys? So sometimes I buy antiques to save them. And so I saw this on eBay with the buy it now, and I sort of lowballed, like they had like a make an offer, and I lowballed the seller and I said, no, $13. And I didn't think they would accept my offer of $13, and they did. And thank goodness. So now I can save this antique, and I'll show you what it is. Collect lots of antiques. One of them being antique scent bottles or perfume bottles. I like antique glass, and especially things with silver. And so this has a silver top. It's British. Let me try to get this open. And in the pictures, it looked awful. It looked like nobody's ever taken care of this. Pretty much it was like left in a junk heap. And the seller was nice enough to sell this to me for $13 so I could save it. That's basically what I do. I try to save anything historical or old. Pretty much if you don't collect antiques and you don't appreciate them, you'll let them rot. And I see a lot of antiques that basically rot because people just don't care about them and take the care that they need to have in order to be preserved properly. Okay, so what do we have here, again, is a British antique scent bottle. All right, so it's quite beautiful. You can see this beautiful cut glass. It's like a crystal. And we have like what's known as like a hobnail pattern. Now, I'm not a glass expert, but it almost has that tic-tac-toe type of look to it, like X's and O's. And the top. So this is what I'm talking about. Most people do not take care of these old antiques and let them pretty much rot. And you can see that right there. This is a silver top. And it was made in Birmingham. So if you look at the marks, a lot of times British silver will always have these marks. It's the law. Even way back in, like the 1700s and the 1800s. So you see the letters HM with an anchor and a lion and a blank square. Now the blank square would have a letter in it. And unfortunately it's long gone unless I clean it and can actually see something. It would tell us the exact year this was made. So this was made by Henry Matthews of Birmingham, who had a silversmith shop on Vittoria Street. And Birmingham is a street famous for being part of the Jewellery Quarter in Birmingham, in England. And so this company, Henry Matthews, operated from 1894 to 1930. He made all sorts of things. He made silver hairbrushes, silver cigarette cases. He also made like lots of different pretty silver items in his shop. And so he had frames, hat pins, card cases, cigarette cases, buttons, amongst other items, perfume bottles. And as you can see here, this was never taken care of. Now, without having the exact year, my guess is this was probably made around 1906 to about 1910. I could be wrong. You can give or take a few years prior or a few years after. But this, as you can see, was not taken care of and left to rot. So what I am going to do today is now take a look at it before, and you can see this is pretty shot. By the way, it's missing the stopper. These things would have original stoppers in them made out of glass. 90% of the times, they're gone. Long gone. And so, yeah, that one is missing. Now, when I take a sniff of it, that's a thing. You can smell your antiques. And I know that sounds weird, but I'm going to take a sniff. Wow. And I smell the perfume. And perfume is very hard to get rid of. It will last for hundreds of years. Even if there's remnants of it in an old bottle, you will still smell it like the day it was made. And actually, they had very pretty smelling perfume back then because I smell it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get my favorite thing to clean silver with. Weiman Silver Polish. It's a cream. We have some cotton pads, some Q-tips, and what I have here is a beat up silver cleaning rag. And let me open it up. It was made by Sabrina Silver Company. You can get these for like under $10 on Amazon. As you can see, it's well used. And so what I do is it has the silver polish already embedded in the cloth. But I put little dabs of silver cleaner onto this cloth and clean. So it's like a lot of elbow grease. And then wipe it off with clean cotton. And then there's going to be those nooks and crannies that you have to get into, which is very hard to do so. So I'll do that with the Q-tip with the silver polish on it. So let's see, can we get this old bottle clean and looking beautiful? Hopefully. I have another one, and you can see they come in all different sizes. They even come in different shapes. Another English one, and this one is probably from the Edwardian era. And you can see, look how tarnished the silver gets on these. And so two of these will be getting cleaned today. And all right, let's check it out. Let's see if we can get this. Now again, remember how blackened this is and destroyed. And let's get started. When they're in this condition, I can get my good old Dremel out, put it on very low. I have these little buffing pads, and I put a little bit of the Weemans on it, and the wheel spins so fast. This cleans in like 5 minutes, but I don't feel like getting out my Dremel, so I'm going to use good old-fashioned elbow grease. And as you can see, I just put a teeny tiny dab on my silver cleaning rag, and the yellow side, if you have one of these. The blue side is the buffing side, so at the end, you'll buff it to a shine. All right, so let's go. And we're out of focus. Come on, focus. There we go. All right, so I'm going to start at the top, and I'm just going to put a couple of dabs of this around. And the thing is, you don't want to bend the silver. Sometimes if you press too hard, the silver will bend and dent. And as I'm going around, I'm realizing this is going to be harder than I thought. But look at the filth on the rag that just came off, just by rubbing it a little. And that is just outrageous. Now, you can see the top. Look, it's getting shiny already. And now I have to get into those little nooks and crannies because they have some reticulation. I don't know if you can see that. So there's some reticulation in there with little designs. So that's where my Q-tip will come in handy. And this video is getting longer and longer, and a lot of people will be hitting the back button. But if you have some old silver, this might help you to clean it. So I'm getting in there. Look at this. Look how black my Q-tip is becoming just by rubbing a little. I mean, just a little bit. And so now I'm just going to go around. Now I'm going to use the other side of the Q-tip and just get in those nooks and crannies and just keep rubbing. You don't want to put too much silver polish because then it'll make it too slippery. And then you won't get the dirt off because it'll be too wet. So you just want to put a little bit, just a tiny little bit. And as you can see here, look how filthy my Q-tip is becoming. And look how much shinier the top is becoming. You can see the top is getting nice and shiny, but it's still very hard to get in these little nooks and crannies. And what you can do is get one of these shish kebab sticks, one end being pointy, and sorry, we're out of focus, and the other end being more flat and blunt. Let's try to get a focus on this. And it's not going to happen. And so what you do is just get one of these little cotton pads. It's like a makeup remover pad. And just not on the pointy side because you don't want to like leave scratches. On the flattened side, just roll a cotton pad around it. And then put a tiny bit of the silver polish on the tip of this. Like that. And then you can get into those nooks and crannies. And then it helps. I mean, a Q-tip will work too, but they bend easy. So you don't want to like, you know, waste too many Q-tips because they'll just bend up. And just get in there. Get in those nooks and crannies. And as you can see, it's getting shinier and shinier. You're seeing the progression. And you can see like how much shinier that top is now. It was like really black, and I still got a lot of work to do in that spot. So you could still see black and tarnish in between those little nooks and crannies. So I still have to get in there. But compared to that, this is way better. The more I work and the more elbow grease, the more this gets shinier. And so I didn't do around here yet. This is a pain in the butt to get into. But yeah, as you can see, it's coming off. Now we still have some tarnish going around this area. I'm going to really have to get in there with a Q-tip and my little stick, my shish kebab stick with the cotton. But it's getting better and better. Now, please, if you have old silver, just don't let it rot. This will tarnish again and again and again and again. Even if you keep it in like a china cabinet, it in a few months will turn black again. So you're just going to have to keep up with it. And if you don't like keeping up with the antiques like that, then don't get them because it's a lot of work. All right, so the progression is moving along. So the right side edge, I started up into about here. to about here. And you can see how much cleaner that is. Now, if you look in there, look how black that is. And then if you look in here, it's much shinier. All right, so I still got a lot of work cut out. So as you can see, a lot of filth is coming off, also onto the rag. And there we go. The top is pretty much done. And so now I have to get this part, which is the hardest part. Now, a lot of people are anti-cleaning antiques. And they say, leave that patina on, leave that age on. But for certain things, it'll end up getting destroyed if you don't maintain it or clean it. So now we have to get into here. And this is not the fun part because it's the hardest spot to like move into. Let's see how that goes. All right, so I'm just going to show you quick snippets. So I put a little bit of the polish on this rag, and I'm going to use the tip of my finger or fingernail through the rag to try to get this off. And I'm holding it with one hand because you don't want this to get dented. Old caps like this get dented very, very easy. And as you see, I'm like really having to rub hard. This is not for the faint of heart, if you know what I mean. So as you can see, I'm getting in there, getting in those grooves, and it is black. I mean, black as the ace of spades. I'm gonna have to put a little more polish. Now you see it's getting shinier. I don't know if you could see that, but some of that black is coming off. And yeah, I got a lot of work cut out for me here. All right, so enhance. Let's try to see this. As you can see, this spot is becoming shiny like a mirror, but we still got a lot more to go. And as you can see, that's like in bad shape. All right, but now we're starting to get mirror shine like in this area, but I got to get down in this area. And it's not as easy as I thought. So we're going to probably have to use our shish kebab stick with cotton on it to just like try to get into these nooks and crannies on the edges. Hard work is paying off, and it's starting to come clean, thank goodness. This is where it gets really hard. The back of the hinge. This is very, very hard to get in there. But so far we did that, and that's starting. I mean, you can still see black on the edges, but at the end I'll take care of that. But this is the hard spot. So now we're going to have to use Q-tips to get into that little, like, nook and cranny under the hinge. And this is not fun. All right, so it's all done. It's not perfect. Now, you'll never get it perfect unless you have a microscope or one of those heavy-duty like magnifying glasses and can really, really devote hours to getting all the tarnish off. But look at this. You saw how filthy and dirty this was. It looked like a piece of junk. And I'm so glad that I got this for $13. These usually sell in the $100 to like $300-400 price range. $13 is not bad. Now it is missing the original stopper, which is quite common, but if it had the original stopper, it would be worth a lot more. But again, we saved this old antique today, and it has a mirror finish. Look at that. That is just something else. Now, another thing, if you're ever cleaning these old cologne or perfume bottles, do not get water inside of the bottle, especially if it's missing the stopper. If you want to give it a rinse, you know, like give it a little wash, do not get water in there. If you get water inside, you'll never get the water or condensation out of the bottle unless you have a special like bottle drying brush, you know, like some kind of mop that would fit inside of this bottle. You will see droplets of water, and you will hate yourself for doing that. So try not to clean the inside of these bottles out unless you have a swab that you can go in there and dry it out by hand. And I'll show you something. The opening is so tiny. To get something to get in there, to dry it out after you put water in there is almost impossible. As you can see by the neck of the bottle, it'll never happen. So there you go. Thanks for watching. And look at this. Isn't this pretty cool? I'm going to just spin it around. I'm just really delighted with it. Let's give it a close, and we'll give it a good spin, and you can see the sparkle and the shine. All right, guys, another thing, be careful when you're cleaning these old caps. They bend very easy. And then, you know, you get dents and you get all like, you know, divots in it. So you just got to be very careful. All right, guys, so long, farewell, and take care.